Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Indie Books International Q&A, our community building event. And special guest today will be Craig Lowder. Craig and I wrote a book together a few years ago called Smooth Selling Forever. Craig had worked with 50 different mid-sized companies. And by following his system, these 50 companies increased sales the next year by 22 to 142%. And I said, that's a system, that's a proprietary process you've got there. And we spelled it out in this book. Craig, at some other time, we'll have to tell him, you're one of my authors who didn't care if you sold one book. And you had like a 33% revenue increase just by giving books away. So that in itself is a great case study for another time. What we're talking about today is Craig and I are launching a new book, Trusted Advisor Confidential. So we said, what if we took these systems and test them out on trusted advisors, financial advisors, agency owners, people who are solopreneurs, and the system works well. It creates a proactive system that attracts right fit clients. So we wanted to share this wisdom with the world. Craig, if you'll indulge me, I was going to give a little more of your intro from Smooth Selling Forever. And I'll just paraphrase it. He said, I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go to Stanford. I'm from a working class Midwest family. I don't put initials after my name. Once I put MBA on my business cards, but I got rid of that. It sounded pretentious. It's just about a pragmatic system, a way to step by step attract the right fit clients. And he's taken it to many companies, and now he's taking it to trusted advisors. And now we have a curriculum, a book, we have a companion guide that has the templates and everything you need. If you want coaching from Craig or I, you can have it. But our hope is you can take the guide and implement this. And we're welcome on however you want to take the ladder. Craig Lowder, welcome. You've got the talking stick for 10 minutes, and then we're going to open it up for a Q&A on any topic about business development, writing a book, publishing a book, promoting a book. And just one other piece of housekeeping. These are for our indie family community to get to know each other. So please, in chat, don't put a commercial, but put who you are and how to contact you. We find people want to do LinkedIn and get together with each other, and we are big supporters of that. Craig, through the years, has been very generous with other authors and helping them, and he's part of our brand of generosity, family, and fun. And with that, let's tee up this guy who didn't go to Harvard or Stanford, but graduated magna cum laude from the School of Hard Knocks. Please welcome, and he has an MBA. Please welcome Craig Lowder. Yay.
Thank you, everyone. It's great to be with you here today. Let's talk a little bit about, this book, this program. What I learned over decades is that trusted advisors needed a system for new client acquisition, just like people who are in sales that work for a company. So over 30 plus years of experience, between Henry and I, we finalized the Navstar client acquisition system, because trusted advisors are either, let's say this, they're not confident in their ability to generate new clients. Why? Because they don't have a system. What do I do? How do I do it? When do I do it? So what Henry and I did in this book was try to encapsulate the 6 steps, the 6 stars to creating a robust client acquisition system designed to do 2 things. Number 1, to fill your portfolio of clients with right fit clients, and to significantly increase your revenue. So very briefly, it starts with 6 stars, and this is in a hierarchical chronological order. 1, targeting. You have to target the right prospects foundationally by determining what characteristics do they possess where you are a good fit for them and they are a good fit for you. You cannot move to the next star, which is all about messaging, until you get your target audience right. Once you get your target audience right, it's about creating a message that resonates with your target audience, where they're raising their hand and they're saying, tell me more. I would like to talk to you. Let's go on a journey together. So they build on top of one another. And again, unless you get your target audience right, your message may not connect. Once you have your target audience and your message, then the process is, well, how do I go from generating a lead to securing that new client? And we refer this as to client acquisition mapping. What does that mean? It's sales process mapping. So you need to develop the steps that you're going to go through and attract that client with a high conversion rate from lead to the clients that you really want. So you have to choreograph that like a dance. And typically there are 3: acquiring a new client, upselling, cross-selling an existing client, or getting the client to sign up again. Key point here, there needs to be congruency between your client acquisition process and how your target audience buys. So you always start by putting your target audience hat on and saying, if it were me, what steps would I go through in making an informed decision? Once you define those steps, now you can develop your client acquisition map. 4th star, client acquisition sales success standards. What activities and what results do I need to focus on to know that I'm doing enough of the right things well, activities and results, in order to meet my new client acquisition goal, my income goal, any other goal that you want to assign to yourself. Most people focus on results. And the only thing I'm going to say here is results are lagging indicators of success. Activities are leading indicators. If you do enough of the right things well, for example, making enough outbound contacts with people, out of those conversations, creating an opportunity, out of those opportunities, going through a discovery session, being able to deliver, as Mark calls them, discussion document, which others may know as a proposal. And how do we go through those stages in order to secure a new client? 5th, and I'm going to say it's all about lead generation. And this is where Henry is really an expert. I'm a firm believer that you don't prime the water pump with leads until you've got a high lead conversion rate. Otherwise, it's like having a bucket with holes in it. And as you prime the pump for water/leads, they're evaporating in the soil because you haven't handled them properly. So lead conversion execution comes first. Now turn on the pump for new leads. And as we all know, in my experience, been referrals come first. 80% of our business is in the area of referrals as a general rule. Public speaking, great. Book, fabulous. In my case, I find the book is the door opener. As Henry says, the publication of the book is a starting line. And it really is. And I've taken the book as my business card to create credibility and distinguish myself from the competition. And then the 6th star is, well, what is my pipeline or funnel of opportunities really look like? Is it healthy or is it not? So there's a whole system and some tools around that to ensure that you've got enough coming in at the top of the funnel, enough that's working its way down, where you're getting to the point of best few, we're getting the right fit clients to do business with you. Example is an impact. One of the clients I worked with was a commercial real estate agent. He was good. He was already successful. But going through the 6 stars, we took his game to a new level. Specifically, and I'll give you some numbers. We doubled his annual qualified leads from 19 to 32% year over year. That may seem, well, that's not really a lot, but we're talking about qualified now because he wasn't qualifying leads. So these are qualified leads, people that he should be talking to, that should be talking to him. Secondly, we moved his improved his lead conversion rate from 37% to 66%, because A, we were targeting the right audience, we had the right message, and he was able to spend his time more productively. So think of it, taking the prospects that you have in your funnel and converting 2 and 3 versus 1 and 3. Now, his average contract size increased from only $16,000 to $19,000. May not sound like a lot, but it was sufficient with the other efficiencies that he built in using the Navstar client acquisition system. Here's the real kicker. He increased his personal income from $76,000 to $291,000 in 1 year. And that's by all following the system, targeting the right clients, delivering a message that resonated with those clients, following a client acquisition process that mirrored the way that they purchased, made sure that he created enough of the right activity well in order that the activities resulted in results. He reconfigured how he was generating leads with a target audience and message. He knew what he needed to do now to generate qualified leads. And then finally, he did look at his funnel. How many opportunities in the funnel? How real are these? Do I need to bring more in? Do I have enough? Etc. But it's all very formulistic in terms of everything that we do. And in the new book and the corresponding, we call it the Navstar Client Acquisition Toolkit. The design is to give you a total, there are 30 tools in there that all are designed to be do-it-yourself. Here's what they are. Here's how you use them, fillable forms, and you can do it on your own. That's the goal, a bundle of the book, the workbook, and we're also, as a free bonus, going to be giving you a sales assessment to help you understand what your strengths and areas for development are, being involved in business development for your business. If you say, well, I'd love to do it alone, but you know what? I like to have somebody guide me. I want a facilitator. We're putting together a 12-week program. Every odd week, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, it's a 90-minute educational workshop. Targeting, what is it? The best practice of. What are the benefits if you do a great job of targeting? Let's talk about these. Now, I'm going to give you 5 tools. I'm going to introduce them to you. So turn to your workbook on page such and such. Grading your clients. Here's how you use this form. Creating an ideal customer profile. Here's how you use this form. Defining your buying personas. Here's how to use this form. Completing your connector compass, which is designed to attract more referrals. Here's how you use this form. So it's designed to give you the opportunity to do it on your own. And in the even weeks, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, it's a one-to-one coaching session with either Henry or I. We're taking a look at your work because we know you have to build a solid foundation before you can move up to the next level.
Craig,
go ahead.
Craig, may I jump in for a second?
Absolutely.
Okay. So for the community, what we're doing here, a lot of you are really smart and have figured it out. We're demonstrating what we want you to do. We want you to do monthly Q&As. We want you to have a book. We want you to have a system that people can opt into. So Craig is demonstrating everything that we're teaching. And we want you to have these. Jamie, I know, has one coming up next week with a Q&A. I'm encouraging all of you to do this. After referrals, which Craig mentioned, And 80% of our business comes from referrals. Jamie had a great session recently on referrals. And if you're getting that much of your business, why aren't you doing more? In the book, we talk a lot about why aren't you doing more referrals? The next thing is some sort of informational program like this. So I wanted to now shift to Q&A, and you can raise your hand. You can just start talking. You can put a question in chat. Who will start us out? And you can talk to Craig, Henry, or Devin is our expert on promoting books and what you do with social media and how you attract people to programs like this. So with that, Ms. Angie, if you want to unmute and ask a question.
Finally have a question. One of the reasons why I don't read a lot of books is because I don't want to take someone else's idea and try to play, I don't want to be guilty of plagiarism or taking their idea and turning into my idea, and vice versa. I don't know that I always want to give my idea away for someone else to take. And because I think my idea, well, I know my ideas work. I know my plan works. So I don't want someone to take that away from me either. So can you debunk some of that?
Oh, yes. Let me take this, team.
Go.
Okay.
Nothing like a heavy question, So.
Oh, no. So I'll start with what we said at the university. If you steal from one person, it's plagiarism and you get fired. If you steal from many people and cite them as sources, it's called research and you get tenure. So in your book, you cite other people, you show scholarship, and at least, I always say, at least a dozen citations of where it come from. We don't pretend we're the source of all knowledge. We're in a stream of knowledge that we're adding to it. But Angie, through our studies, and our point is, the more generous you are in giving away valuable content like Craig does in his books, and I'd like to hope we do in our books, the more you help people solve their problems in general, the more we'll hire you for the specifics. And that's where the money is. The ROI of 400 to 2,000% are the specifics. Shannon can tell small to mid-sized agencies how to create a killer TV spot. What she really wants is for them to hire her, and she has this amazing turnaround and a proven track record of spots. And no matter where you're on the country, you get Hollywood, New York quality. She comes from Hollywood and New York City. Anyway, so with Dr. Steve and his leadership in neuroscience, his tips, techniques, great. But what's better is you have him come in and train your executives from 12 weeks on how to use brain science to be better leaders. So you need to be in, healthcare, medical products, customer service, and giving away your best advice. And it tells people, wow, think of the advice we would get if we hired her and she applied it to our specific situation here at Merck and Pfizer.
Okay.
So
Johnson & Johnson.
Two comments, if I may.
The chair recognizes Craig Lowder.
Two comments. Number one, assume that someone else is going to take your intellectual property and present it in a different light. It's happened to me. So nothing is secret, particularly when we're communicating with other people. Word is going to get out. Here's what really distinguishes us. All of us are experts at delivering what we deliver. And understand, we're really in the business of diagnostic medicine, prescriptive medicine. Our systems, our tools are foundational. But unless you have practical experience in determining what the symptoms and what the prescriptions are, the foundation is worthless. So we're practicing prescriptive medicine. Yeah, they understand the foundation, but people don't know how to apply it. You agree with that, Henry?
I do. And Angie, my wife, Vicky, got very upset because there's someone out there who's taken my content and says, this is Henry DeVries, you know, from Forbes and author, and they list it and they sell it. They're selling it. And Vicky was angry. And I said, excellent. We've got a free publicist working on the team now. I hope they make lots of money spreading the news about what we teach.
Right. Okay. So that it's just always been a hindrance of mine to like dig in, and I just don't want to steal. I don't want someone else's seed to plant in me and then me try to make it mine. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. So I tend to shy away instead of really absorbing more information and then just finding a better way to bring it out.
Emulate Shakespeare. He stole from everybody. Oh man, he didn't write anything original, and it wasn't Shakespeare either. But that's another topic.
Right.
Okay, another question. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Steve.
Yeah. Hey, Craig, I would love for you to talk a little bit more about.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
I didn't set you up right. You're supposed to say, hi, I'm Dr. Steve Swavely. I'm the author of blank. And my question is, because I want the other family to get to know how great you are.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Take two.
Hi, I'm Dr. Steve Swavely. I run a business called Evolution Leadership Coaching, and I'm the author of the book, Ignite Your Leadership, The Power of Neuropsychology to Optimize Team Performance. And my question for Craig is, please describe, if you would, your 12-week program. What's involved with that? Is it a group? Is it individual? Talk a little bit more about that 12-week program.
Well, thank you for asking, Steve. What I find with a lot of trusted advisors, they need to use their time effectively. And not only do they want to learn from the facilitators, they want to learn from other people in the room just like them. So it's a combination of group education every other week, and one-to-one coaching on the evening weeks where I'm saying to you, Steve, okay, we talked about targeting. Here are the 6 things tools you need to complete. Have them to me 24 hours before our call so that I can review them. And my goal is to make sure you're on target and you're prepared to move to the next star. Because particularly starting the bottom, as I said earlier, if you're off base, everything above it is going to be off base.
Right. Thank you. So if I understood correctly, Craig, it's a week of a group education, and then there's a week of one-on-one, and then followed by group, and so it's a 12-week total. Is that?
You nailed it. And it's not for me. It's all not about making money. It's about really, really helping you and having you become raving fans of me. Because if I do a great job, guess what you do? Hey, I just went through a great workshop. You ought to talk to Craig. You ought to enroll in his program. We're trying to create referrals, but it's designed to be not so individual. And I've got an individual program, but it's going to cost a lot more money where it's just totally one-to-one, you and I. Or you say, this information, these tools are pretty self-explanatory. I can do it on our own. And I want to participate in a small group. I won't do a group for any more than 10. Experientially, I found 6 or 8 are the best, so that people are contributing and talking among one another, and you don't feel like a number in a large classroom.
Great. Thank
you, Steve.
Jamie's going to cut out. I'm asking her to put down how to get to her Q&As. I really found it valuable. So it's like Jamie goes deep on one of our stars, and it's about the referral. I see David Goldman here. David, would you give the 1-minute preview of the book that we're coming out with Mark? Oh, Craig mentioned Mark. Mark is Mark LeBlanc. He's the chairman of Indie Books International, past president of the National Speakers Association, Hall of Fame speaker, author, underground bestseller, Growing Your Business, and several other books. And on one of the stars, David, Mark, and I are going deep about the conversations. David?
Yeah, hi, thanks. Henry, I also have a question for Craig. Are we allowed, first of all, are we allowed to talk fees?
I'd be happy to share where I'm at with everything.
All right, good. So let me do the format. Hi, I'm David Goldman, and I run a company called the Goldman Organization, where I work with professionals who want to bring more business in without feeling like salespeople. Sounds very similar to what you're doing, Craig. And I wrote the book, The Road to Happiness: How to Get What You Really Want. And the new book, soon to come out with Mark and Henry, is Bringing in the Business Without Feeling Like a Salesperson. And my question is, if you could distinguish the fee for the group program, the group and individual program, 12 weeks, and if someone wanted to hire you and just go deep one-on-one relationship, you have another fee for that, I assume, right?
Absolutely.
Could you answer that? And then I'll do what Henry asked me to do.
Yeah, and I will share if you're willing to provide me feedback, because you're my target audience. So if I'm looking at the basic, you're going to be able to buy the book on Amazon. The bundle, the book and the digital workbook, you need to buy from me, along with the psychometric assessment. That's going to be $480. If you want to participate in the group program, you'll get the 12 weeks, plus the bundle, plus I'm starting a mastermind group that we're calling the Captain's Table. I learned from a good Jewish friend of mine, you don't call it the Eagle's Nest, because that was Hitler's getaway. Boy, was I saved one there. For 6 months, it's a mastermind. It's a Q&A session where people like us get together. Let's talk about it. Here's some things you should know. That program is $39.95. If you want to do one-to-one, where the 12 weeks are just you, it's $10,000. If you want to just participate in the mastermind group, and the requirement is going to be that you've read the book and you've gone through the workbook, I have it coming somewhere between $9.99 and $19.99 a month. And I'm also thinking of doing a very concentrated weekend retreat. So it's a Saturday and Sunday. We're going to rock it through all 6 stars in that period of time. So here's some education. Spend some time working on the tools, and then we'll have a follow-up session after this to talk about the tools that you weren't able to complete, or to provide some additional guidance. And because I'm also using nautical and celestial terms, Mark LeBlanc has a pinpoint session. I have what's called a sextant session, because the sextant is on the
You gotta
book.
be careful saying that one, Craig.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this sex.
Well, I got to be
section.
careful the way Steve's looking at me right now. I need to make very sure I pronounce it correctly. You know, it's $300 for a 60-minute session. Is that what you were looking for?
Yes, thank you.
Thoughts? Too low, too high?
It's interesting. Maybe we should take this offline. I don't know how much time you want to spend on this, Henry. There's a big discrepancy between the group and individual program for 12 weeks at $39.95 and a one-on-one for 12 weeks for $10,000.
I'm going to dedicate 5 minutes to this.
Okay.
Because I think it's important, and then we'll tee up to that thing I was asking you to tee up.
Okay.
And I say use these Q&As as a focus group for your pricing and get the wisdom of the team. So when I was in the E-Myth Academy, and this was 15 years ago, so prices have gone up, but it was $800 a month for one-on-one help, $300 a month for group help. We tested all sorts of numbers, and a $5,000 mentoring program seems to be a magic number out there. workbooks, 100 to 500, depending on how much is in the tools. And if you do something where you give some help explaining the workbook. So we're Heat Seeking Missiles looking for all these programs. We're all looking to leverage our time. So I'm a big fan of, the predictive ROI. I've been a client. I'm a promoter of them. They had something last month where it was just a challenge. It was kind of a fun challenge to us. And they said, create a new program. Send an email out that says, we've created a new program. If you're interested, call me. So I have Devin send that email out. I haven't created a new program yet, but I got a lot of response. I go, oh, well, okay. So the next email went out. Okay, well, here's who we're looking for with the new program. Sent that out. People go, okay, tell me more. Oh, next day I better write up the program. And we're doing a beta test, a cohort. And instead of me, spending 6 months and flying around, like, what can we do in 90 days? And I don't leave here. And we have Angie is in the program. It's a $2,400 leveraged program. I have a week, an hour every week where people can meet with me. So it's a lot less than with my individual program for an agency, but I think we can get a sloppy first copy and maybe even a first draft done in 90 days if we focus on it. So I priced it at $2,400, sold out immediately. In January, if I do it again, it's $3,000. And if that sells out immediately, it's going to go to $3,600. And until a point where people go, and they don't, and then I'm going like, oh, then we're going to back the price back down. So a lot of this is a science experiment. But we look at best practices and what's going on out there and what people like. I know from 20 years of research in this, people prefer to talk to us in one-on-one.
Right.
And they will pay more for that than a group program. And my guess, I haven't scientifically researched it, but from my work, I'm seeing it, I think it's 3 times. They'll pay 3 times more to work one-on-one with you. And I like to offer people the choice because some people are Dutch like me, cheap, and they'll go for the group program. I'm
Right.
always asking if tortilla chips come with a meal and do I get to keep the rolls? So, that's where I come from. That joke was for Devin. Okay.
So,
May I make
so
two
I
comments
just
quickly?
want to add
Craig,
2 things.
Craig and then David, or David and then Craig.
Yes, so 2 things. One, Mark has 3 levels, and he calls them a full rate, which could be your 10,000, and then he has a no-brainer, which could be your $300. That's one where you're giving them a session. It's only $300. They can make that decision right away. It's a no-brainer. And then there's the Cinderella, which is the just right. Something that's something in between. And I don't have a formula that can tell you what the right numbers are, but I will say this, and I learned this from David Newman, Henry, your friend, my friend, David Newman. And
Yes.
this is one of the most brilliant little pieces of advice I ever heard. Instead of charging 10,000, instead of charging 6,000. I was charging 6,000 for a coaching program. He told me to start charging 6,500. I'll get more takers. And he was right, because the last word I said was 100, not 1,000.
Ooh.
So they were paying more and thinking they were paying less. Unbelievable. So I would not charge. So I charged 9,600 for a 12-week one-on-one program. And it's a no-brainer. But if I charged 10,000, it would sound like a lot of money.
And just a quick refinement. Notice he didn't say $9,600. Drop the word dollars off your language.
Yeah.
You're just using a number. It's 5,500. It's 9,600. Craig?
Yeah, I was going to say, one of my goals was to leverage my time, because we have limited capacity if we're doing one-to-one. So the value in a group program on an hourly basis is actually better for me, because if I have 10 people in the session, I've got 10 people divided by the amount. I'm making $1,000+ an hour or more, depending on how many people are in the session. The one piece of feedback that I've had on the group program was, it's a partner in a wealth management firm. He goes, sign me up. And he starts writing. And he says, I've got the names of 8 other people in our firm that I'd like to run through this program. When can we get started? Well, David, slow down just a little bit. Let me get the work done. And so, in other words, would the firm pay for it? Oh, absolutely. So think about that.
I like it.
$4,000 in essence times 9. That's a huge payday.
Yeah, I like it. No, I wrote that down. I like the format. The every other week, that 1 week when I'm doing the education, there's no distinction in what I'm delivering. There's no distinction between or among people, but the one-on-one is where the distinction comes. I like that. I'm gonna look at that. Thank you very much. So Henry,
Yes.
just to answer your question quickly, because I don't want to take all the time. Bringing in the business without feeling like a salesperson is for professionals who know they need to bring in more business. They don't like sales, quote unquote.
Right.
And
I don't.
so it's a series of conversations, and it's Mark's IP that there's the attraction phase conversation, there's the meaningful conversation, there's the decision phase, and then there's the agreement phase. And then my IP comes into the play with the meaningful conversation, teaching professionals how to conduct a format for conducting the first interview that gives them a game plan where they won't lose their place. They're not talking about themselves and what they can do for people and how great they are. They actually talk about the other person, what they want, and how they might be able to fulfill it. And that book should be out before the end of the decade.
David,
And which-
with your blessing, if anyone here would like to be a beta reader of that manuscript, because we're in a draft on it. If you want to be a beta reader and just give us feedback, positive, honest, negative, whatever, we'd welcome that. And
Yes.
I'd be happy to share that with you. You just send an email to Henry and say beta reader, bringing in the business. Is that okay, David? You're the lead author.
It's sort of okay, Henry. It's a changed manuscript from the one you currently have. So I just say, please hold off for a week, and I'll talk to you more about that on Monday.
Okay. Well, make the request if you want it.
Yeah. I also did a 5-page white paper on it. I'm going to send that to you, Henry. Did I send the white paper to you?
Not yet. I'll devour it.
I'll send. Yeah, it's 5 pages. It won't take you long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're at 11:43. I just wanted Karen to make a comment, if she's willing, about the numbers, and then I'm going to open it up to a last question, and then what did you just say, Devin, about taking it home? Oh, give me a doggy bag, I'll take it home. Okay, Karen.
Hi, everyone. It feels like maybe I'm a newbie, but you all have been together before. I was browsing the website and saw that this is an opportunity. I'm writing my own book. I've actually written it, but I haven't given my manuscript to anybody to edit. So I was just coming here to learn more. But I've been in sales for quite a long time. So that was where that came from. Is it's not just on the money side, it's, the time, and people really like to know that they're going to get a lot of time from you. So that's where the 16 weeks versus 4 months. I'm an executive coach. So I coach CEOs as they are transitioning into the role, and just letting them know that they get me for 16 weeks, not 4 months of their time.
Yeah. And likewise, I say 90 days versus 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's more. It's not, but language is important. I mean, you can tell somebody they look like the first day of a welcome spring, or you can tell them they look like the last day of a hard winter. It's the same day, by the way. And Shannon and I have been in Canada, and we know about that last day of a hard winter. And David, you're from Pittsburgh. You know it well, too. Okay, so last question, if anybody has a question, and then I'll take it home. Mary.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment, and that hybrid model of group education followed with one-on-one coaching is the model that I use with my wealth management firms, and they love it.
Tell me more tell me about the model.
So the model is exactly what you described. The first, there's one session that's a group education with the firm. And then they have some homework to do. And then the second piece of it is one-on-one with me, executive, a coaching, talking about how do they implement the principle and the lesson that I just taught. And then we come back, and the next month we share what we've learned as a group. And then we go on to lesson 2 with the homework, one-on-one coaching, rinse and repeat. And I not only love it because I get to know people intimately, they love it. So they get the group coaching and they all are talking the same language, but then they also get one-on-one attention and bring things to me that they may not feel comfortable in the group. And then as a group, if I get their permission, we can share an experience or an idea or what went well. So I just applaud you, because I think I call it sort of this hybrid of group coaching and one-on-one, in my experience, has been terrifically effective. I like it. They like it. It's a win-win.
Great. That might have been my gift for doing this today. Somebody else? Yes.
Do you send your information as a PDF file, or do you send them a workbook? So they could go ahead, or they can only work on what you sent?
They can only work on what I send because it's all divided into modules. And so I do the teaching, then they get the written, which is sort of, and the homework, but it's one by, I don't send it all ahead as here's the 6 lessons we're going to, no,
because I'd be on lesson 6. Okay.
I'm going to test that, Mary, with my program. I sort of had an open hour, but I think from now I'm going to send something and say, I'm going to talk about this or talk about anything you want to talk about at that session, so that people don't think I'm winging it.
Right. Yeah. If you have something to find, we talk about this.
Yeah. But if you want to talk about something else, I'm good with that too.
Yeah, I'm not an expert as you are, but that's kind of the way that the one-on-one coaching goes, is what's on your mind and what is it that you want to bring forth first? What's important to you that we talk to? And then we integrate that into the principle of communication that they were just taught. So let me know how that goes. I'm really interested.
So everybody knows that was some humility, because Mary has a huge brain in this very slight body. She knows a lot. She's very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody for being at the Q&A. And Devin, was there anything that we need to send out to people, or okay. So usually that's another thing you can do if something comes up, and then you can say, oh, well, we'll share this with the group and we'll send it to everybody. That's another technique you can use for your Q&As. Well, until we get back together again on the first Thursday of the month, that's going to be October 5th, 11 a.m. Pacific. We'll have another Q&A. Look forward to seeing you then. Thanks, everybody.
So that's your retreat.
Well, the retreat is only for indie book authors. So I don't promote it. We do direct communications on that. But thanks, Angie, for.
So you'll do both? You'll do the Q&A and the retreat?
The Q&A is the 5th of October. The retreat is the 21st and 22nd of September.
Well, why do I have 5th and 6th?
Well, you know what? It might have been a former time, but I'm having a grandson. Yeah, Mazel Tov. I'm having a grandson, and I'll be spending a week in Providence, Rhode Island, and then tag teaming, and Aunt Devin will come in for the following week.
Okay.
Because it's second child, so a help flare has been sent up from Providence, Rhode Island. That
congratulations.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay, I
Thanks,
got it
everybody.
now.
Henry,